Hi everyone, Don Lemon here. A word. I have some shocking but not so surprising news. Ronna McDaniel is out. Yes, with less than 4 days on the job as an NBC News contributor, the former RNC chairwoman was kicked to the curb. If you're crunching the numbers, her tenure was less than half a Scaramucci. Just moments ago, NBC chairman Cesar Conde confirming in a company-wide message that McDaniel is indeed done. In my mind, this was inevitable. From the moment Chuck Todd raked the C-suite over the coals on Sunday, it was clear that McDaniel did not have a future at NBC. And all day on Monday, starting with Morning Joe at dawn and ending with Rachel Maddow in prime time, host after host after host slamming their bosses for putting McDaniel on the payroll. I have a lot of thoughts about this, okay? Some of them, fair warning, they're going to surprise you. But first, I just want you to get a sense of just how enraged MSNBC anchors were by the hiring. Because 30 Rock has been a circular firing squad for the past 48 hours. MSNBC execs sniping at NBC bigwigs, MSNBC talent sniping at everyone. Take a look.
It's my understanding that MSNBC's leadership did not object to Ronna McDaniel being hired by NBC News when the matter first arose. But when the hiring was announced and MSNBC staff essentially unanimously and instantly expressed outrage, our leadership at MSNBC heard us, understood, and adjusted course. We were told this weekend in clear terms, Ronna McDaniel will not be on our air. Ronna McDaniel will not be on MSNBC. And I say that and give you that level of detail because there has been an effort since by other parts of the company to muddy that up in the press and make it seem like that's not what happened at MSNBC. I can assure you that is what happened at MSNBC. Ronna McDaniel will not appear on MSNBC. So says our boss since Saturday, and it has never been anything other than clear. And I will also say, if you care what I think about this, I will tell you the fact that Ms. McDaniel is on the payroll at NBC News, to me, that is inexplicable. I mean, you wouldn't hire a wise guy. You wouldn't hire a made man like a mobster to work at a DA's office, right? you wouldn't hire a pickpocket to work as a TSA screener. And so I find the decision to put her on the payroll inexplicable. And I hope they will reverse their decision. And it's not about, Democratic Party, Republican Party. It's not about partisanship. It's not about right versus left. It's not about being a political professional versus some other kinds of person. It's not about being mean or nice to journalists. It's not about just being associated with Donald Trump and his time in the Republican Party. It's not even about lying or not lying. It's about our system of government and undermining elections and going after democracy as an ongoing project, right? And this is a difficult time for us as a country.
Inexplicable indeed. Now look, I know what some of you might be thinking. Don, what happened to free speech? You've been talking so much about free speech lately. What happened to hashing things out in the marketplace of ideas? What happened to respecting ideological diversity? I hear you. Echo chambers, whether they be on social media, mainstream media, or in your day-to-day social circles, they are bad. Not just bad, actually. They're dangerous. There is tremendous value in hearing out Republicans, even extremely conservative Republicans. And I plan to do that on my show, okay? So stay tuned for that. That value, though, disappears when the person in question is a pathological liar. And make no mistake, Ronna McDaniel is a pathological liar. Remember, she actively conspired to overturn the 2020 election by playing along with Trump's fake elector scheme. And she even personally called up state officials and pressured them to not certify election results. That is not a person anyone should hire as a political analyst. If you're a known liar, if you're nakedly corrupt, you shouldn't be on a news organization's payroll. And this is a principle that applies to both sides. I sure as heck wouldn't hire Democratic Senator Bob Menendez as a political analyst either. Okay? All that said, There is another dimension to all of this. So take the ethics out of it. Logically, it doesn't make sense to hire McDaniel. Who does she provide you access to? She's not close with top Republicans on the Hill. She's not friendly with Mike Johnson, House Speaker, right? Or Jim Jordan or Mitch McConnell, very highly placed and influential in the Republican Party. She has no allies in the never-Trump GOP faction. Nikki Haley, Chris Christie, and company feel that she tried to fix the Republican primary for Trump. And speaking of the former president, he hates her too. He and his MAGA friends literally pushed her out of the RNC. So what would McDaniel even offer NBC? What purpose would she serve, except being a living, breathing insult to all the journalists in the building? Now, some might argue that having McDaniel in-house would be a signal to independents and moderate Republicans that NBC and MSNBC are nonpartisan. That, to me, is laughable. Joe and Josephine Sixpack are not going to think MSNBC is any less left of center just because Ronna McDaniel works there. And putting that aside, there's actually a way better way for the mainstream media to present as fair, to present as balanced, to present as objective without hiring pathological liars like Ronna McDaniel. And it is so simple. Just call balls and strikes. Stop only reporting on stories that are bad for Republicans and stop protecting Democrats who don't deserve protection. Tell me this. Some of you are not going to like this, but tell me this. Why have mainstream media breathlessly defended Fulton County DA Bonnie Willis and Nathan Wade these past several weeks? Why? What they did was clearly wrong and it was clearly unethical. There was no cause to defend them. In fact, if the media's top anchors had called on the pair to recuse themselves, now that would be how you build back credibility with swing voters. You want another way? Cable news hosts need to stop reveling in Trump's legal woes. You as a journalist should not be giddy that a former president could have his assets seized or bank accounts frozen by the New York Attorney General. Not only is it inappropriate and off-putting, but you're playing right into Trump's hands. You are literally supporting his BS grievance narrative. Again, just call balls and strikes. Speak in plain English and don't gaslight your audience. When Donald Trump says that the auto industry will face a bloodbath should he lose in November, don't misconstrue his words to claim that he is calling for a civil war. There are plenty of other horrific things Trump has said, like how immigrants are poisoning the blood of our country or how his political opponents are vermin. Focus on those. Don't take him out of context just to get clicks. Report the truth. In the news media, actions don't speak louder than words. Words speak louder than actions. Hiring anti-American liars like McDaniel doesn't grant you fair and balanced points. Only actually making your coverage fair and balanced can do that. Okay? So while this was a completely avoidable disaster for NBC and MSNBC, I do hope that they're going to walk away having learned a very important, very valuable lesson. But what do you think? Am I being too harsh on both mainstream media and Ronna McDaniel? Am I? Do you think that she is a voice worth listening to? Is she? If you were in the NBC News C-suite, what would you have done this week? Please let me know. Change my mind if you think I'm wrong. Thanks for watching The Don Lemon Show. Make sure you click on the image in the top right to subscribe to my channel and the thumbnail in the bottom right to watch more content from my show. And I'll see you next time.